Have you ever felt like the world was telling you what to think, what to believe, and what to accept, even when deep down, something inside you whispered, that can't be right? That was my life. I am Galileo Galilei, and I was born in Pisa, Italy, in 1564. You might know Pisa for its leaning tower, but for me, it was the city where I first began questioning why the world leaned in favor of tradition instead of truth. As a boy, I was fascinated not by what people told me, but by what I could see with my own eyes. I would drop objects from different heights, watch the swing of a pendulum, or study the stars, wondering, why do they move the way they do? Back then, people believed Aristotle had already explained everything worth knowing. But when I saw with my own eyes that his ideas didn't always match reality, I dared to say, what if he was wrong? That single question shaped the rest of my life. You see, in those days, questioning authority wasn't just unpopular, it was dangerous. The church, the universities, even society itself, everyone demanded obedience to tradition. But I believed truth was not a matter of opinion or power. Truth lived in nature, and if you observed carefully, it would reveal itself. One of my earliest discoveries was with motion. People thought heavier objects fell faster than lighter ones. Aristotle had said so, and for centuries, nobody challenged it. But I tested it myself, dropping objects from a height. And what did I find? They hit the ground at the same time, regardless of their weight. That experiment might sound simple now, but at the time, it was revolutionary. From that moment, I realized something powerful. Nature speaks a universal language, and that language is mathematics. Numbers don't lie, and the world follows patterns we can measure. This idea gave me courage to keep questioning. But my most dangerous idea was still ahead. Imagine the shock. For centuries, people believed everything revolved around us, humans, Earth, the church at the center of God's plan. But the sky itself told a different story. The sun, not Earth, was at the center. I remember the first time I showed people the moons of Jupiter. Some refused to look through the telescope at all. They said, if God wanted us to see these things, he wouldn't have hidden them. Others accused me of trickery, as if I had hidden little glass spheres inside my telescope. It was almost comical. But it also revealed a sad truth. People fear evidence that challenges their comfort. Still, I persisted. I wrote, I taught, I demonstrated. I believed knowledge belonged not to the few, but to everyone. If people could see the truth with their own eyes, perhaps they would learn to think for themselves. But the more I spoke, the more powerful enemies I made. The church was furious. They said my ideas contradicted Scripture. But I asked, if God gave us senses, reason and intellect, would he not want us to use them? I was not denying faith. I was denying blind obedience. And yet, courage has consequences. Eventually, I was summoned before the Inquisition. Imagine standing in front of men who held the power of life and death over you, and they demanded, say the earth is the center. Deny what you have seen. What would you have done? So I stood before the Inquisition, men who held not just my fate, but the weight of fear and tradition. They demanded I say that the earth does not move. Imagine being asked to deny what your own eyes, your own mind, your own instruments have shown you. To speak against truth itself. Some like to imagine I shouted defiantly, that I thundered epos I'm wove. And yet it moves. But reality was more complicated. I was tired, cornered, facing torture. I recanted. I said the words they wanted. I chose survival. And here's the part many forget. Even in survival, I continued to think, to write quietly, to teach carefully. My enemies may have silenced my voice in public, but they could not extinguish the truth. Because truth is stubborn. It has a way of rising again, no matter how deeply you try to bury it. Now, you may not face inquisitors in robes, but you do face boardrooms filled with skeptics, supervisors who resist change, or entire industries that cling to outdated ideas. Sometimes you'll be pressured to recant your vision, to play small, to stop questioning. In those moments, remember, retreat does not mean surrender. Survival can be strategic. If you live to keep thinking, to keep questioning, you are still pushing the world forward. But let me also warn you, truth alone is not enough. You must learn how to carry it. I was brilliant with lenses and numbers, but I was clumsy with power. I underestimated how dangerous new ideas could feel to those whose authority rests on the old ones. My arrogance, my bluntness, my hunger to prove myself, it made me easy to paint as a threat. You, in your time, will need to be wiser. Not every battle must be fought in the open. Sometimes leadership means letting the evidence speak quietly, letting others carry your ideas until the world is ready to listen. And yet, never lose your curiosity. That, above all, was my gift. When I looked through the telescope, I was like a child seeing the universe for the first time. Wonder is a kind of fuel. It drives you past failure, past mockery, past fear. If you can keep that sense of wonder alive, no authority, no system, no skeptic can truly defeat you. So, if you ask me what I want you to remember from my life, it is this: dare to look through your own telescope. Question what everyone else accepts. Balance boldness with strategy. And when the world resists you, as it surely will, know that retreat is not always defeat. The earth still moves, whether they admit it or not. Truth has patience. And maybe, just maybe, centuries from now, someone will look back at you the way you now look at me. Not as a man who had all the answers, but as someone who dared to keep asking questions. This is my lesson. Galileo Galilei.